welcome to episode 4 of our podcast. My name is Manuel,
And my name is Elena.
and today's topic is The Little Prince. So, you already know it maybe because of the book, because I think it's the most famous item regarding this story. But there's also a movie we want to talk about, which is far more recent than the book, of course.
Yes, so today we're going to talk about both the book and the movie. So everybody, I believe, knows The Little Prince. That is a very tiny book because it's very short, but it has a lot of different topics inside and very, very deep topics that are also not only for children, but for adults too.
Yeah, it's a book for all ages, really. You can read it when you are very young, but if you haven't before, you can do it even now if you're maybe older. It doesn't matter. All the topics that are referred inside the book are always modern, I can say, and it's always interesting. It's a really good read, and maybe now we will get into more detail with the story.
So yeah, basically the main character here is an aviator, which is the author himself, who has an accident in the Sahara Desert and finds this little child who is a little prince, of course. So this is of course a very strange situation because you are in the middle of nowhere with no water, no food, and suddenly a little prince appears and simply asks to the aviator to draw a sheep.
So the aviator decides to draw this ship that the child wants so much. The thing is that after the first few drawings that he makes, the child is not really happy with that. So the aviator decides to draw a box, okay? And he says, "Here you are. This is your sheep. It's inside the box. This is the one you want." And of course, if you're old enough and you see the scene in the movie or you read the part in the book, it always feels like a weird moment. Like, okay, so you've just drawn a box and there's no ship in the picture. Okay, so it's imaginary. And that's the point. So the child is happy because it's about imagination. So of course the child pictures in his mind the ship he wants. And of course the aviator also adds some holes in the side of the box to say, okay, so there's no problem. The ship won't die inside because she can breathe thanks to the holes in the box.
And she can only get the food that she needs. So basically, the little prince is very worried because he lives on an asteroid that is called B612, and it's very, very tiny asteroid, and he is worried that the ship doesn't have enough space or enough food to live. But the aviator says she's going to be very fine because she has all the food she needs. So this box drawing is basically the topic of both the movie and the book. That basically the importance is not seeing with eyes, but with the heart. So that's the whole important thing during the story.
Yeah, paraphrasing the famous quote that you can find inside the book and the movie, of course. It's like something like what's essential cannot be seen with the eyes. You can only feel and see with your heart, okay? So the two most important things that the book wants to communicate is, of course, to have feelings, to listen to your feelings, in this case, to your heart, and use your imagination. And that it's referred many times also in the movie that it's not important to grow old. So this is not like a Peter Pan story that you have to keep being a child or infantile. You just need to to remember the importance of these two things. So even if you grow up, you don't have to forget. Okay, so always remember to be creative, use your imagination, and listen to your heart.
Yes, that's another very important thing inside the book and the movie. So, of course, the aviator, but also the little prince says that the adults don't understand anything alone, and children have always to explain them the things better. So it's not just being adult, but as you said, remember that once you were a child too. And that's also a thing you can see pretty well in the movie.
Yeah, so, well, we don't want to go into detail with the story because we don't want to give spoilers if you haven't read the book or watched the movie. So we will just say that. So after the first encounter between the aviator and the prince, you discover something about the prince's story. So where he lived, what he did on his asteroid, basically, like a small planet, okay? And the travels that he made before reaching Earth. So traveling to different small planets inhabited by other people with different traits that you can find on adults. So being greedy or being, I don't know, jealous, this kind of feelings that normally children don't have because they really don't know the meaning of that. So it's really fun to see this kind of comparison between a child and an adult when it comes to these kind of aspects that you can find on everyday life.
Yes, so the relationship between adults and children is the basic topic of the book and movie. So, and you can see it very well during the movie. We don't want, of course, to spoil you everything, but I think that the idea they had to draw this topic inside the movie is very good. So you can see different kind of adults behaving and acting in very strange ways, and on the other side you can see this little girl and an old man behaving in completely different way from the others.
Yeah, and of course the trip that the prince decides to take, it's a matter of love and not knowing really how to handle it in the beginning, and maybe then after seeing some situations and getting some experience or life experience, I should say, deciding to go back, okay, and to go back to his planet, to his asteroid. But of course, we don't want to tell you how the book ends. Of course, there are many other characters that you should check when you read the book or you watch the movie, like the fox character, for example. And well, we can say that anyway, the movie is something more than the book. So normally when they make a movie about a book, they try to copy what the book is and maybe cut some parts, change some things, because it's always hard to adapt a book into a movie. In this case, I think it's the other way around. So if you already read the book and you watch the movie, you'll find out that the movie is really something else. So it gives you the story of the book, that's for sure, but it's just part of what the movie is. So the plot of the movie is really something else because there are other characters. It revolves around real life, okay, and the story of the book, it's just something that goes along the plot and that the protagonist of the movie discovers day by day, okay, during the story. And this is really special. So when you have something like that, it means that the project really works. And of course, the animation that they decided to use between, let's say, everyday life, so the life of the protagonist and what happens in the real world, and the style they used for the animation of the story of the book, in this case it's called stop motion, is really great.
Yes, so I loved the movie. It was fantastic. And I remember when the movie came out in 2015, I was a little bit worried because, yes, as you said, sometimes it's very difficult to make a movie out of a book, especially if you talk about literary topics. So, as in this case, The Little Prince can be defined. A literary book because it's literature, you can call it literature. But when I went to the cinema, and I was completely shocked in a positive way because I found that the movie was great, and I really, really liked the stop motion animation. And the thing is that is very, very good to see this story in this way. So I believe it's a movie that everybody has to see. So it's not just an animated movie for children, but as the book is for every kind of people.
Yeah, and if you think that the original book was written in 1943 and the movie was made in 2015, I mean it's been a long way to reach this kind of goal. So I don't know when they decided to adapt it into a movie, but I think that it was really a long project in the making, and well, they really succeeded. They decided to do it. They decided to respect what the original aspects were, and they did it. So it's been successful. And what else can we say? I mean, it's really a good piece of work.
Yes, I recommend everybody to both read the book or watch the movie. But for sure, The Little Prince is one of the book you have to read in your life. So for sure, is one of the titles you have to read, even if you're a child or an adult.
Yeah, and also my suggestion would be to read the book first, because in the book you have many more elements to the plot that in the movie maybe were a little bit rushed, not because they were less important or something, but maybe because it wasn't really needed. You have to remember that in the movie the protagonist reads the story, so you have really what the protagonist reads and what the protagonist gets out of the story. So of course you don't have like every other aspect that you can find in the book. For example, if you take the prince travel into consideration, you have just a couple of episodes that he encounters, so you don't have all of them. Okay, so this is just a small difference, but of course you have many other elements that are really well respected. So maybe the best idea would be to read the book. I mean, it only takes, I think, a couple of
Yeah.
days maybe. It's not a long read. Okay, and then to watch it right after finishing the book. That would be the best choice, I think, because the story and all its details are really fresh into your mind, so then you can enjoy the movie more, I think.
Yes, I completely agree. And I wish that it was interesting for you to know a little bit more about the Little Prince. There are a lot of things we didn't say, but as said, we don't want to spoil you anything because we know that maybe some people didn't read the book or watch the movie. So I think for that's it for now. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye.